Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in as always. Coming at you from outdoors one last time for this year, I would imagine, and then it'll be back to indoors for the long fall and winter. But I'm enjoying the fine weather while I can. I'm getting into some record fair hauls today. We just had one a couple of weeks ago. Decided to save that for a special video. First off, I had a couple of 7-inch singles from my last haul from my buddy that's a record seller that I totally forgot to show, so I'll just get into those quickly. This one is rare 7-inch. That is Johnny Osbourne. Who really cares? This is 1970s. Johnny Osbourne's a pretty big name in reggae. He started out at recording for Winston Riley's Techniques label. Then he moved to Studio One and became kind of a big star in the dance hall era of the 80s. But in between, he spent some time in Canada, and that is a recording on the Summer Records label, which there was a great anthology on Light in the Attic Records, summing up that label's output. This one is from my buddy, direct from producer Jerry Brown's garage. He had like a whole box of those in there. Still has the dust. And this one, just show you quickly here. This is a white label, which is kind of like a promo. They would put these out with no writing, so the DJs that got them first could play them, and the other selectors would not know what song they were playing. But this is actually a Studio One tune called Poison Ivy. It's by Joe Bennett and the Sound Dimension, the famous Studio One house band. And that comes with actually a Studio One sleeve. And one last one. Great singer Gregory Isaacs, Once Ago. This was a song he later recorded a couple other times. It's on his classic album Extra Classic, but this is the original cut from early 70s, I would think. Oh, a couple of thrift finds. I showed this one on the BC Facebook page. This is called Harmonium, Les 5 Saisons, or Saisons. This is French prog from Quebec. Nice kind of mix of instrumentals and vocals. It's all in French, of course, so I don't really understand what it's on about on this Celebration label. I've seen this record around a couple of times, but scored this really nice condition copy for 50 cents, so thought, why not? Time to pick it up, check it out. And one further thrift find, I also showed this on the Facebook page. Benny King, Average White Band, Benny and Us. Very funky. Benny fits right in with the band's sound. And on to the record fair haul. Got one more by Mongo Santa Maria, Mongomania, still in the shrink. It's on Columbia. This is him getting into kind of a boogaloo groove. His usual mix of covers of pop tunes of the day in kind of his Latin percussion style. I'm always on the lookout for more Hugh Masekela these days. This is a live one. That is on Uni. Alive and Well at the Whiskey. This is mid-60s, I think. Gets into a bit of soul jazz, a bit funky on a couple of tracks there. Just kind of a little bit different. You don't really hear that kind of sound in his songs too much. Cal Jader, Soul Sauce. This is my first one by him, actually. Fishman, I know you know this one. It's on Verve. But I had a chance to pick this one up before and passed it up, so when I saw this one pretty cheap, I thought I'd better grab it. It's in pretty nice shape. So Cal Jader, Latin jazz. This one, Jah Wobble, Betrayal. This is on Virgin, I believe. Yeah. From 1980. He is, of course, a founding member of Public Image Limited, and he's very heavily influenced by reggae bass playing. He's a bass player, but yeah, very heavy reggae dub influence on this one, as well as kind of the punk or post-punk kind of aesthetic. going on there. Very cool album. Now this one, I might need some help from the more knowledgeable jazz guys out there. This is Leon Thomas album on Flying Dutchman. Cool gatefold there, if you can see that. Now the seller was selling this as OG, which I kind of have my doubts. I mean, it's got some wear around the corners and edges here, so it is old. But as far as original, the label doesn't match what's on Discogs. It's this kind of eggshell blue, or whatever you'd call it, light blue. So if anybody has any insight into that. It's clearly not a really recent one, but whatever. I think whatever it is, I got it for a pretty fair price. Thought I'd snag that one. Nobody else seemed to be picking up on it at that seller's table. One I was very stoked to get. Rotary Connection debut. It's one I've been after. That is on Cadet label, subsidiary of Chess Records. These guys are probably well known, of course. Minnie Riperton, kind of one of the singers that went on to become more famous as a solo star. Charles Stepney production, kind of a psychedelic, Baroque soul. Bit of rock in there as well. And it's got the original sample to A Tribe Called Quest, Benita Applebaum, that kind of sitar riff. It's on a song called Memory Band on there. There was one seller who had some really nice kind of world stuff. He had some OG Fela Kutis. I've never even seen those before. Of course, they weren't cheap, but I got a couple of things from him. Toots and the Maytals, Toots in Memphis. Always hear about that one. Kind of his answer to the Dusty Springfield, Dusty in Memphis album. Very good. He was always kind of a very soul-influenced reggae singer, so that's kind of acknowledging that link in that album. And he had one reggae 12-inch single, which was a blank, like the Studio One I showed at the beginning. So I didn't actually know what tune it was, but it's on the GG's label, which is usually a pretty safe bet. It just says Dub Part 2 on the other side, which the other side is actually where the vocal track is, so the labels are mismatched. It's fairly scratchy, plays with a little bit of crackle, but I was keen to get that home and figure out what tune it was. And it turned out to be the Maytones, Money Worries, extended version with the DJ Iroy. Those of you that have the Harder They Come soundtrack, I think it's on that one. Maybe it's, yeah, that one. Yeah, it's on that one. So that was a nice find for like $5 or something, I think it was. And a few more reggae finds. Junior Reid, One Blood. This is on his own JR label. This is from the 1989. The title track was kind of one of his biggest hits. Became something of an anthem. But he had actually started a decade before, in the late 70s. He was working with Augustus Pablo, and he was mentored by Laxley Castell and also Hugh Mundell, two other well-known roots singers of the late 70s and early 80s. And both of them died quite prematurely. Hugh Mundell was murdered in the early 80s. After that, he was kind of adrift for a while. Fell in with a group called The Voice of Progress and put out one LP with them. And later on, after Michael Rose left Black Uhuru, he was tapped to take over the lead vocal duties in that group for a while, as he had kind of a similar vocal style to Michael Rose. They're both in a style that's called the Waterhouse School of Singers, with that kind of wailing, kind of slurs and runs they do. But anyways, after that, after he left Black Uhuru, he didn't really feel too comfortable in that group. Went solo again, and this is his classic solo album right there. This one is The New Breed, Tribulation Time. This is from the early 80s. This is on the Top Ranking International label. And it's produced by Touter Harvey, who is a keyboard player with the Inner Circle Band, which you might know them from that Cops TV show theme song, Bad Boys, Well, in the 70s they were fronted by Jacob Miller, who was a very popular reggae singer, and they kind of blended roots reggae with a bit of rock, a bit of disco, and put out their own dub albums under the name of the Fat Man Rhythm Section, which is the Roger and Ian Lewis brothers, who are on bass and drum duties in the group. But Touter, the keyboard player, produced this. There is a dub counterpart to this album called Tribulation Dub, which I imagine is not difficult to find, or not easy to find rather. But very cool, very rootsy album. I got one 12-inch single, Disco 45 mix of I've Been Hurt by Freddy McKay. Kind of not a very well-known reggae singer, but he's definitely got a kind of a cult following. But check for his records. Jah Stitch, very good DJ. That's on Gorgon Records. And one more here, LP. This is Raskidis, John Raskidis. He is, this is an American production, late 80s. I have one other LP I got by him that was really good, so when I saw this I thought I'd snag it. This is on his Roots Force label. He was in Ras Michael and the Sons of Negus' group in Jamaica, which they were kind of a Nyabingi influenced group, kind of similar to Count Ossie and the Mystic Revelation of Rastafari, which I showed them a couple of videos back. But he went to the US, I think he settled in San Francisco and started his solo career. The other album I've got by him is really solid, and this one's solid too, not quite up to the par of that one, but still very good. Apparently still around, still active. Trinity Dreadlock Satisfaction, late 70s album on the Charmers label. This isn't going to show up on the camera very well, but in true Jamaican fashion, this is some kind of other album sleeve that they've turned inside out and printed the new sleeve on the what was the inside of the other sleeve. So there's something in there that was another record, but I can't tell what it is without taking the whole thing apart. Very good DJ album produced by Bunny Lee, who was just the huge prolific hit maker of kind of the mid and late 70s. Prince Hammer, Bible. This is on Virgin's Frontline, classic label there. This is from 1978. This is his debut album. He had recorded under a couple of different names. His real name is Barris Simpson, so he did a couple of 7-inch singles under that name. Recorded for the Phase 1 label as Jawberry, and then he changed his name to Prince Hammer to make more of an impact, I guess you'd say, which he did with this album. Classic DJ album, produced by the Morwells group. And last up, one of my very favorite reggae singers. This is Prince Lincoln and the Royal Rasses, Experience. This is on Vista Sounds. And he is a kind of hard to describe singer. He has this swooping, soaring kind of voice, and just a very unique songwriter. It's a very unique vision, but I just love everything he does. His most famous song is called Humanity, sometimes known as Love the Way It Should Be, which was covered by John Legend and The Roots on their joint album from a few years ago. And I was actually just showing a dub Prince Lincoln album a couple of videos ago, which I think has the dubs to this album on it. So I was very happy to score that one. Okay guys, that's about all I have for you today. I hope everybody's doing well out there and finding some cool stuff. If you're just checking out this channel for the first time, by all means subscribe. I will have more stuff for you soon, and cheers and peace to everybody out there.